Hello everybody, welcome back to another A Beginner's Guide to, and this time we're looking at a deck that I've been putting off for a while and I don't really know why. It's Miraidon EX. Miraidon is an interesting one because I am absolutely terrified of this deck because I seem to have the worst luck with it. If one person is playing Miraidon in a cup or a challenge, I will find them and they will defeat me. It's an absolute nightmare, but it's such a great deck. It is explosive, it is constantly keeping itself topped up with energy. It's just a really good deck. So let's get into looking at it, shall we? First of all, the deck is built around a Miraidon EX. This is a 220 health electric Pokemon. It has two little beautiful things that are going on for it. It first of all has the ability Tandem Unit. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic electric Pokemon and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. You can fill your bench up without any need for Battle VIP Pass or Nest Ball or anything like that. You could just go Tandem Unit, find yourself a Miraidon and a Basic, then use that Miraidon to find a Miraidon and a Basic. It's really easy to fill your bench out immediately. Next up is the attack Photon Blaster, 220, 2 electric, 1 colorless. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. This attack is fantastic because it is exact numbers for, I think, every V Pokemon in the game. Most basic EXs, I believe, are under 220 health or thereabouts as well, so it's just a brilliant card for even going second. You can get this set up and start taking knockouts. It's kind of mad. So what else are we working around Miraidon? Because I've mentioned trying to power it up and stuff like that. But let's go with our supporters first. Our support attackers first of all. Raichu V. 200 health electric Pokemon. First attack is fast charge for 1 electric energy. If you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn. Search your deck for a electric energy card and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So immediately 2 energy on this. Manual attach turn 3. You got 3. Why do we want so much energy on this Pokemon? Well, it doesn't have to be this Pokemon, but in general, Dynamic Spark, 60x damage to electric energy. You may discard any amount of electric energy from your Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage for each card. You discard it in this way. That's right, Raichu was doing Chien-Pao things before Chien-Pao made Chien-Pao things cool. It's a really, really crazy card. It does a lot of damage, and it's 60x. You know the Chien-Pao maths. 5 of those, you're doing 300. 6 of those, you're doing 360, which is knocking out, I think, almost everything in the format. So, absolutely brilliant. But the issue, of course, is discarding the energy. But we'll get to that in a minute. We also have Raikou V. Raikou V has the ability Fleet-Footed. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may draw a card. Very handy for a little bit of extra draw. Lightning Rondo attack, 20 plus damage, electric energy, colorless energy. This attack does 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. So, full benches is 100 damage, assuming it's 5 on each bench, plus a 20, 220. Again, knocking out any basic V or basic EX in the format. It's a very, very nice card. The problem is there's a lot of glass cannons in this deck because they are all below 200 health themselves, so you are having to just, like, power up and go, basically. It is kind of ridiculous. We also have Zeraora, 110 HP electric Pokemon, Battle Claw, electric energy, 30 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, this deck does 30 more damage. 60 damage for 1 electric might not seem too crazy, but it will clean up a lot of like V-stars that are left over if they've just been hit with a 220 and stuff like that. So it is a nice little card to have. And Mach Bolt, 1 electric, 2 colorless, 80 damage. It's yeah, it's a good little card. I'll have him on record. Well, I'm going to be recording with him this week, but we're going to have the episodes up the following week. Tom has played this deck brilliantly, and I will get him to talk about it a little bit on the training session. So if you want to find out more about this card and how good it is, that's going to be a good one to watch. On to other supporters right now. We have Squawkabilly EX, 160 health, colorless. We're here really for the ability Squawk and Seize. Once during your first turn, you may discard your hand and draw 6 cards. You can't use more than 1 Squawk and Seize ability during your turn. And as I always mention with Squawkabilly, Motivate isn't the worst thing in the world. Motivate, 1 colorless energy, 20 damage, attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Even if you know you're going to have to like lose this Pokemon, if you've only got 1 energy and that's it, you can get another Pokemon powered up quite easily. You will lose the Squawkabilly, but, you know, you're a glass cannon anyway. You're smashing through. You're hoping you're taking the knockouts where they matter. Onto the main draw of this deck. Now, there are 2 versions of this deck. This one is the far more common version. This is with Flaffy. There is another version which runs Regieleki VMAX, which we will talk about a little bit later. But this is the Flaffy version. We'll ignore the Mareep. We'll go straight to the Flaffy because we're here for the ability Dynamotor. Once during your turn, you may attach a electric energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So this deck is insane because not only do you have discarded energy coming back via Flaffy, you also have Electric Generator. And I know usually we go for the balls first when it comes to item cards, but we're going to talk about Electric Generator first because it is the engine of this deck. Electric Generator, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 basic electric energy cards you find there to your benched electric Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So theoretically, if you've got 2 Flaffy on the board and you hit with an Electric Generator, 2 energies, you can attach 4 energy in a turn before you've even done your manual attach. And that's not to mention, you can use Electric Generator technically up to 4 times as long as you draw the card. It's an item. It can be used as many times as you like, so it is kind of crazy how quickly Electric Generator can ramp up the deck. Of course, we have the balls. We've got 1 Nest Ball, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. 4 Ultra Balls, you can use this card only if you discard 2 other cards from your hand, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. We are using 2 Switch cards, switch your active basic Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, heal 30 damage from the Pokemon you move to your bench. 2 Escape Ropes, each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon, your opponent switches first. And I think that's about it for items. It's quite a low item count deck. We are far more interested in the supporters, I think. So, let's talk about the tools. We got 2 tools, 2 Bravery Charms. The basic Pokemon this card is attached to gets 50 HP, so quite helpful to keep the Raichus and the Raikous just out of range of the attackers that can return the 220 knockout. Forest Sealstone gives a Pokemon V the ability Star Alchemy, or the V-Star power, ability Star Alchemy. During your turn, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That's right, just find yourself a card. You need Electric Generator? Bang, there it is. We run 4 Path to the Peak, which does seem a bit antithetical to, like, what the deck is about with, like, Miraidon finding more basics, but once you set up, you kind of don't worry so much about, like, needing the abilities. So, Pokemon with a rule box in play, both yours and your opponents have no abilities. Pokemon V, GX, etc. have rule boxes. I do wonder if we'll get a, well, we won't get a Path, like, reprint at this stage, but it is always funny seeing GX when they're completely out of the format at this stage. And on to our supporters, we have Arven. Search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool card, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is one of the few decks that, like, runs Arven incredibly efficiently. It's such a good card to have. Finding your Forest Sealstones, finding your Bravery Charms, finding your Switch cards, it's really good to have. 3 Boss's Orders, although Tom will tell you run 4. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. It is very important that you're picking your knockouts with this deck. If you can go with 2/2/2 on prizes, huge, massive Boss's Orders. It's why 4 is, like, definitely a consideration. 2 Iono, each player shuffles their hand and puts it onto the bottom of their deck. If either player puts any cards on the bottom of their deck in this way, each player draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. We know Iono, we love Iono. Judge, each player shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 4 cards, 2 of those. We have 4 Professor's Research, discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Always nice to refresh the hand, especially if you can get rid of some energy that Flaffy can put back on later. And finally, 14 Electric Energy. It might seem aggressive, might seem like a lot, but it is needed with the generators and stuff like that. So there we go. It is a very simple deck, and it's a really fun deck to play as well. I'll say this much. I didn't like it when it was a Regieleki VMAX build. I'll see if I can quickly find a list. I can show you an old list, that's for sure. So I found an old list of Miraidon. It says Miraidon EX T8. I think this might have been top 8 in EUIC, so, you know, it was a while ago. So we're still running a way to discard things in Radiant Greninja, using the ability Concealed Cards. You must discard an energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. Very nice, but we just don't run Radiant Greninja at all, or any Radiants at all, actually, in the current build. So the big change, realistically, is the Regieleki. Regieleki V has the attack Switching Bolt, 30 damage for 1 electric energy, switches Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and Lightning Wall for 100 damage, 1 electric, 2 colorless. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks, which is quite a nice little thing to have, especially considering it's only got 200 HP as well. So it's only 100 damage, but it's survivability as well, which is cool. The real reason you want it, though, is Regieleki VMAX, 310 electric Pokemon. Regieleki VMAX is mostly here for the ability Transistor. Your basic electric Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and that does stack. So if you've got all 3 evolved, you're doing 90 more damage. Suddenly that 220 from Miraidon is 310. You can see where it adds up. You can see the logic behind it. It also has a very good attack, actually, in Electric Energy Max, Thunder and Lightning, 220 damage. During your next turn this Pokemon can't attack, which isn't the biggest issue because it's got free retreat. So if it survives, retreat, switch it back in, it can hit again. Other notable cards in this version of the list, you run 3 Cramomatics. You can use this card only if you discard another item card from your hand. Flip a coin, if heads, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. We also have Echoing Horn, put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. And we have Beach Call. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, is 1 colorless less. All the basic Pokemon in this deck have 1 retreat cost, so it is quite handy to have the free retreat on there as well. It also runs Serena. Choose 1, discard up to 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1 card. If you do, draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. Switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon V with their active Pokemon. There is also a Trek and Shoes variant of this deck as well, but I'm not going to go through every variant of Miraidon. It is just a very fun deck to play, and I'll be honest, it's not one that I've paid much respect to, but since seeing Tom win a cup with it and seeing it get like good results online as well, it's one I may consider revisiting. I think it looks really good. But that'll do it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. If you want to see more, or you want to see me revisit any decks as well, because there are some that have been updated with Obsidian Flames and probably will get updates with 151 and future ones. I don't know how best to like redo a deck list. I don't know if I should like another beginner's guide to or something like that, but I'll figure it out if you guys think there's some good content there. But yeah, if there's any decks you want me to cover, do let me know in the comments. All my social media links are in the description below. If you enjoyed this, do consider subscribing. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See ya!